Alright, so how are you guys doing today? Hope you're all fine and dandy, given the situation anyway. Sorry, is this too far? Today we're going to do a tutorial that it should be relevant for the situation right now where we are all stuck at home, and if you guys, any creators out there, want ideas or like know-hows on how to film stuff on your own, this should be the tutorial for you. So if you haven't watched it yet, I recently did a short film where I just filmed everything on my own. I am the actor, I am the DP, I am the director, I was everything. I'm sure that there might be things that you're wondering how I did it, but I believe that these are things where people who are a little more experienced, they should know how. So I would say that this is more of a beginner's tutorial. But if you're an expert and I do point out things that you didn't know before, that doesn't mean you're lousy or like amateur. I don't mean that. I should probably stop talking and jump right into it. To be very clear, this is how my room looks like. It is not huge at all. If you can see, I don't have much space to work with, but in the short film I felt like I portrayed that there's a lot more space than it seems. Just that in my head I always know that it's not a big room, so I don't know whether there is any kind of like bias. So the first thing that should be done is your planning. That is the most crucial thing that you have to get down to, because you don't have like a person to help you stand in with the focus, you don't have someone to frame for you and stuff like that. Everything is done by yourself. So when I wrote the script, every scene that I was going for was already pictured in my head. I knew what I wanted to do, I knew what movement it should have. This is my example. You will see that although it's just the narration words, I have the visuals written all down. This leads to your next thing, where it's the shot list. For me, this is the most, and I repeat, the most important thing. The shot list makes all the difference because it covers all the angles. So I may be doing just one thing, like opening the dry box in this scene, but I have couple of shots for that, and this shot list will help you to cover what you need to shoot so you don't miss out anything. Right, next we move on to equipment, and I really did not use a bunch of crazy equipment. All I shot on was my 90D, which I'm filming with now, a Rode Video Micro, which is the furry ball thing, a big tripod, a small tripod for low angle shots, and just my light. I didn't even have a light stand for it. That is how minimalistic my setup was. Sorry, on the plane. Right, the next thing that you have to cover is the effects. When you're shooting by yourself, you're not doing any handheld or any kind of b-roll. Most of the times your shots are static. What you can do is to add effects so that you can have movement in your shots. This goes hand in hand with your shot list. In my shot list, I do state that I have a pan in or a side dolly and stuff like that. And the effects can be done in your editor. I am using Premiere Pro. So on the effects controls, I will adjust the scale and the position and then use keyframes to shift it. There's also another option of having this shaky handheld preset where you can download it. This is how I made the scene of me shadow boxing a little more intense. It looks like someone's holding the camera, but it's just like always, a camera on the tripod. And point number 3 is that you've got to be very patient, because this gets so frustrating. And I am telling you from experience, you will think that you have your focus on, but then when you go for it, you realize that it might not be at the first place. I mean, if you have a huge monitor to help you, that works, but I don't. So also another thing could be framing, depending on what kind of place you have to shoot. The surroundings, like I said, my room is not big. Framing can be kind of a bitch. Just have more takes, have more safety takes as well, so that if you realize that you messed up with one of the shots, when you see it bigger as it is on the screen of your laptop or whatnot, you don't have to be like, oh damn it, I have to film again and whatever. So be safe at the beginning, take a few more safety shots first. With that, you might actually end up being a little more annoyed because like, oh, I need to do this again, but just be calm, just be patient. After all, you do have a lot of time. And for my final point is that don't be afraid to make changes from whatever you have planned. You might have planned a certain angle, you might have planned a certain framing, but when you look back at the screen, you realize that it might not be the best option. This also applies to post-production. When you're editing, you might feel like some things did not work out the way you wanted in your head when you're planning. Don't be afraid to change it, whatever makes your film better. So just to wrap up this really short tutorial, at the end of the day, the most important thing is your story. You might not need to shoot super cinematically like me, but as long as your story is compelling, that should be the way to go. Writing a good story is subjective, so I shouldn't put myself in a position to teach you how to do that, but I can teach you how to shoot something on your own so that you might have a good story but you don't know how. At least answer some of your questions and you can apply them for yourself. So guys, this is it for me today. It's a short one, but I hope that it adds value to your skill sets. And with that, I'll see you in my next video, which I won't know when because I have nothing planned. So take care guys, stay safe, stay strong, and see you in the next video. Ciao.